a psychologist, who is the most disturbing individual you've ever met. Oh. My. God. I don't even know where to begin. First of all, I began working in the mental health field while in college at age 20. I was a low-level counselor, glorified babysitting, mental health technician, whatever you want to call it. I will tell you about a person with whom I attended college. In addition to being a mental health technician at the state psych hospital, I was also a resident assistant for the college. I assisted students with housing issues, enforced code of conduct, all that stuff. I was pretty laid back and cool. Don't blatantly disregard the rules, make me look bad, or hurt others, and you get no problems from me. One evening, I was pulling duty in the male dormitory when one of my friends, Robert, showed up at the office door wearing nothing but a towel. Robert asked if I would come get a girl out of his room, as she was refusing to leave. I advised Robert that I was not his personal bouncer and he would need to handle his romantic dalliances himself. He explained that was not the case. He did not know the person in his room. He had left to go take a shower down the hall, and instead of having to carry the room key with him, he left a roll of toilet paper wedged in the door to keep it from closing. When he returned, there was a girl laying on his bed with her books strewn about as if she was studying. Upon seeing him enter the room, she began screaming and throwing books and pens at him and demanding he get out of her room. I knew Robert and he was not one prone to lie or exaggerate. So, I went to check. Sure enough. There she was. I told her she needed to leave. She protested, stating that she was in her room. I advised that considering it was a male dormitory, I doubted her claim. I helped her pack up her stuff, walked her up to the second floor which had the main entrance to the dorm, walked her outside and sent her on her way. I advised Robert that I needed him to sign an incident report. He followed me back to the office, still wearing his towel, waited while I filled out the report, signed it, and left. He was not gone 10 minutes before returning, still in the towel. Apparently, when we walked the girl out, we forgot to close the door completely behind us and she double-backed on us, came through the back door and resumed her study position. This time, I meant it, and I was going to be prepared. I locked every door leading in or out of the dormitory and left a sticky note on the door advising there was a security risk and not to let any unknown or unaccompanied females into the dormitory. Next, I called campus security and advised them to be waiting at the front door to escort this individual away from the building. Then, Robert and I went back to his room. Once again, I helped her pack her things and escorted her out the front door. Campus security had not yet arrived, so this girl tried every door like before, but all of them were locked. She then went window to window on the ground floor, knocking to see if anyone would open the door for her. Finally, campus security arrived and captured her. The girl had a valid college ID. So, we looked up her residential dorm. It just so happened that she had been assigned as a roommate to a friend of mine. I called my friend to inquire about the girl. My friend said that she had only met the girl one time, and that was the first day of fall semester. The girl mumbled something, grabbed her enormous book bag, left the room and had not been back. We were currently in November. Not knowing what else to do, campus security delivered her back to her assigned dormitory, walked her to her assigned room and emphasized over and over how this was her room and she had better not be found in the men's dormitory again. The girl would argue then become silent, argue then become silent. I thought that would be the end of the story. It wasn't. The next morning, I was awakened by the phone. It was the dean of students asking me if I was the RA on duty last night. I advised that I was. He asked if I could come to the dormitory where this girl supposedly lived, right now. It was 7:30 a.m. I was scared to death. I hopped in the car, drove like a bat out of hell, arrived at the dormitory where there was an ambulance, a police car, campus security, and the dean of students' car. I parked alongside, got out and proceeded toward the main building. It should be noted that these dormitories were built in a Gothic style to resemble Old English castles. As such, there were fountains dispersed across the courtyard. I spied the cluster of first responders and the dean at the side of one of the larger fountains. As I approached, I expected to see the girl floating, but I was mistaken. No, the girl was very much alive. However, she was butt naked in the middle of the fountain bathing. She had her hair soaped up with a shampoo. She was scrubbing her parts with a bar of soap. And, she was totally oblivious to anyone calling out to her. I did a quick assessment of those present to realize why it was that I had been called. I was the only female present. I let it be known quickly that I would not be the one going in after her naked behind. The dean ended up getting a wool blanket from one of the first responders. He rolled up the pants legs of his suit past his knees, took off his dress loafers and stylish male hosiery, waded into the freezing cold water with his bald white chicken legs and proceeded to slosh over to the bathing beauty, wrapped her in the blanket and dragged her, kicking and screaming, to the pool's edge. The ambulance loaded old girl up and sent her off for a psych evaluation. After reporting the incident to her parents, the dean of students returned shaken. The parents knew the girl had mental issues, but they were sick of dealing with her, and considering the wealthy grandparents were paying for a college education for all their grandchildren, it was preferable to send the girl away to school to be someone else's burden. It was determined that this student was living like a homeless person in the doorways and under the arches of various buildings on campus. She would occasionally attend her assigned classes. When she did, she was highly intelligent and insightful, but her moments of lucidity were getting further and further apart. Needless to say, we never saw that girl back on campus.